Shall we start now?
Yes, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Warm greetings to all respected principal, resource persons, research scholars, and dear participants joining from across India and abroad. Without giving much go into the details, I would like to give a brief introduction of today's speaker, Dr. M. Raja Vishwanathan, sir. Dr. M. Raja Vishwanathan is Associate Professor and Head Department of Humanities and Social Sciences at National Institute of Technology, Warangal. He has an MA in English from the University of Hyderabad, MPhil in English Language Teaching from IITWW University, and holds a PhD in ELT from Osmania University, Hyderabad. Prior to joining NIT Warangal, Dr. M. Raja Vishwanathan taught for a time at CFEL, presently the English and Foreign Language University, Hyderabad, on the International Training Program. He also had stints at several private engineering colleges in Hyderabad. His research interests include ELT, bilingual and bilingual education, cultural politics and language teaching, and multilingual education, etc. American literature, British literature, literature in translation, Indian writing in English, etc. He has published extensively in national and international journals and presented papers in conferences of national and international repute. He has 8 publications in UGC care-listed journals. He has been guiding research in ELT and literature, and 3 students have been awarded the PhD under his supervision. In addition to ELT, Dr. M. Raja Vishwanathan, sir, has an abiding interest in the passion for football. He is also deeply interested in Indian philosophy. Today, sir is taking second session, and the topic of today's session is practicing ethics in research. Sir, please welcome.
Thank you so much. Participants, at the outset, I would like to apologize to you for the delay caused because I was not able to access my mic. All right. Now, is this visible to you? This is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Practicing ethics in research. All right. Now, why ethics? This is the million-dollar question. Well, it is because there is now undue pressure on research.
Sorry, sir. Please go to the first slide, sir. First slide. Before one, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
thank you, sir.
Practicing ethics in research. See, to start with,
yes, sir.
the question that we should be asking ourselves is, why ethics in research? All right. And why have we perceived the need to practice ethical principles in research? The answer to that would be, in this day and age, there is a lot of pressure on everyone to publish, not only on faculty members, but also on students. Carry out research, register for the doctoral program, and once they obtain their PhD, their positions in the universities, colleges they are teaching at is ratified. And after ratification also, you are expected to publish in SCI, Scopus Index journals year after year. Obtain research grants, remain competitive, remain in the rat race. Because of the undue pressure being exerted on researchers and supervisors alike, there is a tendency to adopt shortcuts. This is perfectly understandable, considering the fact that it's your job that gives you your bread and butter. And in order to sustain your job, you may have to resort to unethical practices in order to survive in the market, remain alive, push yourself to achieve things which is not humanly possible to achieve, and so on. Also, there is a lot of ignorance pertaining to research. Ignorance in terms of what is expected of the research scholar, what is expected of the supervisor, why should supervisors guide research, why should a research scholar register under a particular supervisor at a particular institute to carry out research, and so on. Let me also tell you this, it's a home truth. Many researchers register for the doctoral program in private universities, particularly private universities, because they want the doctoral degree somehow. I know this because I have proofread, reviewed dissertation after dissertation, and I can tell you how much is lacking in the work that I often look at. It could be a friend requesting me to proofread his work. It could be in computer science, engineering, or mathematics, or any area where a lot of proofreading is required, including, of course, dissertations in ELT and literature. So when I browse, when I read these dissertations, I get to know how much researchers fall short of the expectations placed on them by the system, by the university, by also probably their supervisor. So there's a lot of ignorance pertaining to research. People shoot arrow after arrow in the dark, trying to hit the bullseye at least once. And this racket is played across the board. Universities encourage it because they would like to have a good NIRF ranking. Supervisors encourage it because it gives them points for promotion. And researchers are compelled by the system to obtain a doctoral degree because that is now mandatory for them to teach in colleges, including engineering colleges, the second tier and third tier colleges. And then, of course, you have demands of the day, institutional guidelines, compulsion to guide research, and so on. All right. With the result, ethical principles go for a toss. And many of them, unfortunately, are also not aware that what they are doing is highly unethical. As somebody pointed out very helpfully the other day, using ChatGPT to write a paper is considered ethical when it clearly is not. But then we need to know what ethical principles are and on what basis ethical principles are decided. Okay, some commandments vis-a-vis research. We have the 10 commandments. Now we have some commandments with regard to research. The first is thou shalt not steal others' work. In other words, you will not copy, ditto, word for word, anything that's already been published. Thou shalt not bear false witness to data that is dubious, unreliable, or manufactured. I'll come to this later. Thou shalt not covet any author's work in any form. And thou shalt not covet your neighbor's work. By neighbor, I mean your friend's work. Now, when I discuss ethics, I need to tell you straight away that you have to present any work that you do without fabrication, falsification, or misrepresentation of data. Now, can someone tell me whether there is any difference between falsification, fabrication, and misrepresentation? Are they the same? Are they different?
Sir, falsification means providing a wrong data, and fabrication means manipulating the data to suit your purpose.
Misrepresentation?
Trying to justify, sir. Trying to justify what we have said.
I'll tell you, there is a difference. In fact, there are several differences. When you fabricate data, what you do is you rustle up data from thin air. There is absolutely no basis for you to come up with the data. For example, without carrying out an experiment, I publish my findings based on certain assumptions. Without carrying out field study, I simply generate something using ChatGPT or Perplexity or Gemini. That would be fabrication. Fabrication is intentional. Fabrication is based solely on uninformed assumptions. And fabrication is simply producing data that does not exist. For example, without carrying out any study, I manufacture data. That is fabrication. Where fabrication is concerned, no data exists. Falsification, on the other hand, is manipulating data to ensure that a certain conclusion you want arrived at is arrived at. Let me give you an example of falsification. Let us say we discuss mental health issues in engineering colleges. You are looking at a particular engineering college, and this engineering college has reported several suicides recently. You happen to be teaching in that engineering college. Okay? And the management has asked you to collect data with regard to mental health issues faced by students over several semesters or years. Now, as a researcher, what are you supposed to do? I've been assigned the job of collecting data pertaining to mental health issues of students. I happen to work in that college, and AICTE or JNTU or any of these universities to which the college is affiliated want data pertaining to that college. So what am I supposed to do and what do I end up doing?
So we have to find out the reason, no, sir. We
Correct.
have to communicate. We have to see what has happened for the subsequent years, where and all it has happened. What is the major reason, and like that, sir.
Correct. But I'm working for the college. The management is paying me salary. So what does the management expect me to do?
Show in a positive way.
Exactly. Report whatever data I have collected, massage the facts and figures in the data to actually hide the ugly truth behind the data. The data may be very honest, but I represent it in such a fashion as to mislead. Or having collected data, I report only one part of it, the part that is favorable to management, removing everything else. So what am I indulging in?
Falsification.
Falsification. Yes. In other words, I am using data to manipulate, to use data as a tool to further a particular ideology or a particular interest. This would be data manipulation. Let me give you yet another. Is this clear to you, participants? Do I make sense?
Yes, sir.
And very much clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Now, let us say I want to fabricate. When I fabricate data, what I do is I don't collect any information from any student. Instead, I go to ChatGPT and I give it a prompt. I say, "Dear ChatGPT, this is what I want. I want you to send me a report, compile a report in which I say that the mental health of students has not suffered at all between 2020 and 2024. And then I give it a series of prompts. Based on the prompt, ChatGPT gives me the answer. In other words, I did not collect data from a single student or from the teacher concerned. I ended up cooking up. And then I present this as a report to the management saying everything is fine, everything is picture perfect. We have had no mental health issues. Whatever issues we have had were only very minor. All right. And the allegation that, in this particular engineering college, mental health issues have exacerbated over the years is simply false. This report is compiled with false figures. 345 students from 6 branches were interviewed. The interviews lasted 3 months. Questionnaires were administered. Everything is falsified. And what I do is I generate a questionnaire and then I get my office clerk or peon to tick certain boxes. And all the boxes testify to the fact that students have not reported any adverse impact on their mental health. The data is ready. All right, I have already given instructions to the office clerk or peon to tick a particular box. Out of 345 responses, 300 responses should be like this. 40 responses or 30 responses should be like this. 15 responses should be like this. So when I'm asked to provide data, I have data ready with me, but that is concocted data. That is fabrication. Is it clear?
Fabricated
Right.
manipulation.
Yes.
Exactly. All right. It is what many colleges do. They simply show someone as professor drawing 7th pay scales or 8th pay scales when every faculty member is given consolidated salary. In fact, we used to have a joke doing the rounds when I was teaching in engineering college. Do you know what 7th pay means for us?
750 as basic.
No. 7th pay in engineering colleges. You receive the salary for 1 month on the 7th of next month. That would be 7th pay.
Yeah.
The
My
salary
goodness.
for November is paid in December on 7th December. That is 7th pay. If you are paid on 8th December, it is 8th pay. We used to have this joke. All right. Everybody knows it. But data is manipulated to show that everybody is paid as per scale. And so many have been ratified and all that. All rules have been followed. Everybody is provided with EPF, PPF, whatever. That would be falsification, manipulation of data. Fabrication also. Producing data when none exists. Now, there is something called misrepresentation of data. What is misrepresentation of data? I'll come to that also. Okay. Any questions you wish to ask me regarding this?
Misrepresentation of the data, sir.
Yes.
Maybe like in order to get an homogeneous, in order to get a parabola, no normal probability curve, maybe
Correct.
they will be manipulating the data according to the bell shape
I'll tell
curve.
you, misrepresentation of data can be unintentional. It need not necessarily always be intentional. Sometimes the data that you obtain is such that you don't get a true estimate. I have given you some examples. For example, average income in Mumbai is 9 lakhs per annum. Now, the average income in Mumbai, how is it calculated? The total income generated for Mumbai in a particular year divided by the total number of residents in Mumbai. That will give you the average salary per annum per individual. Let us say it is 9 lakhs per annum. Do you find a problem with this interpretation?
No, sir.
Yes, sir. All will not get the same equal salary, sir.
Not only that, let me tell you, Mumbai has the largest slum in Asia, Dharavi. But close to Dharavi, there is a very posh locality where Mukesh Ambani lives. Now, multi-billionaires like Mukesh Ambani live in Mumbai because Mumbai is India's commercial capital. Right? Number two, Mumbai is also home to Bollywood, where films worth thousands of crores are produced, marketed. And Mumbai also has a lot of business establishments. So when you actually take the amount of wealth generated from these industrialists, companies, you will find a huge amount generated. But when you divide it by the population, you get a very misleading figure, which shows that everybody in Mumbai on average earns 75,000 rupees per month, when that is not the case. There are people in Mumbai who will have to live on less than 200 rupees or 300 rupees a day. And 70% or 60% of Mumbai's population is like that. Their wages are very, very modest. But we get a very rosy figure because the combined wealth of industrialists is such that it makes up for the combined wealth of the remaining 50% of the population. In other words, 90% of wealth is controlled by 30% of the population. Based on that wealth, you cannot conclude that the total wealth of Mumbai is this divided by the number of people is this. Now, this is misrepresentation of data. Do I make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Or you look at homelessness in NYC, New York City. Homelessness is shown to be 5%. Now, this again can be very misleading because there are thousands of people in New York City who actually find shelter in homeless shelters. Okay, these are very temporary shelters which provide them with a night's shelter. Daytime, you cannot stay in the homeless shelter. They have several rules. Just because you shepherd everyone into these homeless shelters, you cannot conclude that homelessness in New York is only 5%. And sometimes what happens is the New York City authorities would like to paint a rosy picture of New York as a city that never sleeps. So they will not give you data, raw data that speaks truth to what's happening in New York. All right, so reality will not manifest itself in figures provided by the New York City Corporation. So it's not just 5%, it could be as high as 25%, meaning 1/4 of New York may be homeless. We never know. And then the figure changes because New York is one city that is visited by millions of people, and people stream into New York City just the way they stream into Mumbai. Again, unemployment in Bangalore is 2%. When I say unemployment in Bangalore is 2%, am I giving a true picture or is it a false picture? Unemployment in Bangalore is only 2%. Is it a true picture or a false picture?
Maybe a false.
False.
Because the question is unemployment in what sector? Are you talking about textile sector in Mumbai? Are you talking about IT sector? Are you talking about other sectors? For example, manufacturing sector, you have to be very clear. If you are not very clear, the 2% picture can again be very, very misleading. For example, when Bangalore had boom time for computer science engineers, if anybody said unemployment rate is 2%, the automatic assumption would be it is only for software engineers. But now we know that Bangalore also manufactures, it also manufactures electronic gadgets, components, and so on. So when you talk about unemployment rate, you have to be very, very specific about the sector in which unemployment prevails. Where is it very high? Where is it very low? Where is it medium? And on what basis were these numbers arrived at? On what basis was the percentage arrived at? Again, let us say I look at mental health issues in learners in higher education institutes, and I come to the conclusion that 12% suffer from mental health issues. Now, this again can be very misleading because it is not clear what you mean by mental health issue. Do you mean a severe mental illness like paranoid schizophrenia, narcissistic personality disorder, or do you mean anxiety issues, panic attacks, general depression? What kind of mental health issue are you talking about? Again, when you say it is only 12%, are you trying to say that the remaining 88% are healthy? If they are, in what sense? Sometimes what will happen is many institutes would like to hide these figures because if these figures are revealed to general public, parents will not want to join their kids in that particular NIT or IIT. Because IITs and NITs have a brand name, central universities have a brand name. So in order to hide these ugly truths, you have to maintain a facade, and that facade will come in the form of misrepresentation of data. And sometimes what happens is you take sample from a very small population and then you try to generalize it to a large population. This again is very misleading. You cannot collect data from 1,000 people living in a posh area in Hyderabad to generalize their opinions as pertaining to the whole of Hyderabad. Do you agree with me? For example, I collect data from IIT Hyderabad with regard to the facilities provided to faculty members in engineering colleges. Now, IIT is also an engineering college, but it's an engineering college with a difference. So having collected data from IIT Hyderabad, I generalize it and I say that this is what obtains across engineering colleges in Hyderabad. Now, is this a true picture?
No, sir.
Absolutely not. IITs are governed by MHRD rules, and IITians faculty members are all paid salaries according to 7th pay scale or 8th pay scale. This does not obtain in private engineering colleges, even elite engineering colleges. So using a very small sample size can actually skew one's interpretation. The statistical analysis itself can be very, very flawed. One IIT does not stand for all engineering colleges. If you have to collect data, then you have to collect data from private engineering colleges. If you are collecting data from IITs, you'll have to collect data from all IITs. If you are collecting data from NITs, then you'll have to include NITs and not central universities. All right? There should be homogeneity there. So when you carry out any study, you have to ensure that there is no falsification, fabrication, or misrepresentation. Do you wish to ask me any question regarding this, please? One case of falsification is somebody carrying out a study to find out if there is a link between smoking and cancer. And they come to the conclusion that smoking and cancer are not related at all. Cancer can be caused by any agency, and smoking does not necessarily lead to cancer. So what you do is you fudge data. Lung cancer is not caused by smoking. It's caused by something else. This happens all the time. Okay, any questions, please, with regard to what I've done so far?
Hello, sir.
It's very clear.
Hello. Okay, yeah, but some of them are saying voice is not clear. Now is it clear?
It's clear, sir. Clear.
Because my mic is working.
It's clear, sir. Clear.
Okay. All right. Now let me move on to the next aspect. The next aspect is plagiarism. So please note, when I talk about ethics in research, it is not just one aspect I'm looking at. There are several ethical aspects, one of which is plagiarism. You have to always acknowledge sources, quotes, and ideas borrowed from others, and that includes your own ideas. Please remember this. There is something called self-plagiarism. If you have published your own views in a journal and you want to take your own views from that journal for publication in another journal, you will have to cite yourself appropriately. Not citing yourself is also an act of plagiarism. It is known as self-plagiarism. It is not as serious as plagiarism is, but it is serious nevertheless. Okay, this is something you should acknowledge. Then you should credit all collaborators. In other words, anyone who has contributed to the research should be duly acknowledged. You cannot leave out anyone because of your prejudices or because of your hatred. If that person is part of your team, then that person has to be duly acknowledged. This person may not be liked by your supervisor. That doesn't mean that you leave him out in the cold, saying that even though he helped me, my guide doesn't like the inclusion of his name, therefore I will not include him. Many a time it happens, and depending on how powerful the guide is, and despite all these lectures about being ethical, unethical practices continue to be followed, continue to be practiced. It is unfortunate. Now, there are different types of plagiarism. Complete plagiarism, which is taking a paper, a doctoral thesis, or anything from an original source, and then removing the names of authors and publishing that paper or doctoral thesis as your own. There have been cases where this has happened. People simply removed the names of the original authors, the actual authors of the paper, inserted their name, and had the paper published in other peer-reviewed journals. This normally happens in predatory journals. In predatory journals, you never know whether a study was really carried out. These journals publish anything that you give them. So you can simply copy-paste something from a journal that you read and then try to pass off the work as your own. All right, that's very dangerous. That's complete plagiarism. Mosaic plagiarism is, what I do is, I consult 5, 6, 7, 10 papers, lift a paragraph or two from each paper, stitch all the paragraphs together and come up with a paper of my own. If I have read, say, 10 papers, I take 3 paragraphs from each paper, and then I put all the paragraphs together to arrive at a new paper. This is called mosaic because it forms a pattern. All right, it is not taken from one source, it is taken from many sources, and it is brought together to.
Sir, I have a question here.
Yeah, you can. Please, go ahead. Go ahead.
What is the major difference between a mosaic and a brigaloge, sir? Brigaloge is we do something new out of what is already existing.
Which one? Mosaic and?
mosaic, what will be the biggest or the major difference between the mosaic work and the bricolage work?
Oh, bricolage. Okay.
Yes, so bricolage.
See, only terminologies differ. Okay. Bricolage again.
Okay, sir.
You have collected data from different parts, right? You try to put them together. Okay, whether you call it mosaic or whether you call it bricolage, it is plagiarism.
Okay, sir.
Because you have not attributed, you have not cited the sources appropriately as required. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, then there is something called paraphrasing plagiarism. In paraphrasing plagiarism, what I do is I take a paragraph, knock off all the words, original words used, replace them with their synonyms. I therefore have paraphrased everything. I have not contributed any of my own views to it. There is not a single sentence that has come from me. I simply took a paragraph, changed some words, and then let's say, for example, Rama killed Ravana. Instead of killed, I remove the word killed and I say Rama assassinated Ravana. And then Sri Lanka was conquered by. Sri Lanka was invaded by Rama, Lakshmana, and the monkey hordes. Sri Lanka was ambushed by. That's it. That is paraphrasing plagiarism. You have not attributed, once again, the original source, credited them with the idea. You simply try to pass off the paraphrased paragraphs as your own. This is also a crime that is routinely committed by researchers, many of whom believe that this is what paraphrasing is all about. Even if you paraphrase, you will have to cite the original source. Please remember that. When you paraphrase someone, you have to cite the name of the author and the year to show that they are the originators of the idea. They are the ones who actually came up with the idea, and that you are only giving it in different wording. Then there is AI generated. See, AI generated actually is a gray area. People are still unable to come to terms with, unable to actually make sense of whether this would constitute unethical practice. It does, because AI generated is machine generated. In other words, what a human being is supposed to do on your behalf, a machine is doing. The problem here is you cannot attribute anything to the machine, because that is, after all, an algorithm that uses an LLM, large language model. What you're supposed to be doing with data scattered across the net, the machine is doing for you. There is no authorial voice there. You are simply feeding it prompts. Based on the prompts supplied, the ChatGPT or Gemini or Perplexity or any of the AIs give you data that you are looking for. With the result, you haven't sweated it out. It was all done for you by a machine. And you do not even know whether what the machine has provided you with is genuine, because there is something called hallucination. A machine can actually be misguided into providing you with data that is not true, that is not factual. No machine does fact checking. Please understand this. Fact checking has to be done by humans, and many humans don't want to do that. They think the machine is all-knower, it is God, it is omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent, it knows everything, when that clearly is not the case. Then there is accidental. See, accidental plagiarism is when you do not know how to cite your sources appropriately. For example, as per APA format, when you cite someone, you have to cite the name of the author, comma, year, comma, page number, and close the bracket. If it is more than 40 words, then that passage will have to be set off from the main text. And there will not be quotation marks, beginning or ending. Okay, it is a standalone paragraph. Now, these conventions should be strictly followed. Again, when you cite someone in the body of your paper or your PhD, the corresponding reference should figure in the reference section. If it doesn't figure, it is tantamount to plagiarism because you have not cited your source. Again, citing the year or the author name or the page number wrongly also constitutes plagiarism because you are directing the reader to a source which does not exist. This also constitutes plagiarism. So you have to first of all understand the nuances of plagiarism before you proceed to write your thesis. And not many are aware of the nuances, the fine points connected with plagiarism. And many also believe that including the name of the author is good enough. No. If the author's citation, if the author is directly cited from a book or a paper or a journal source or from an interview, the quotes will have to be between the quotation marks. It's very, very important. Sometimes people cite the page number and everything correctly, but quotation marks go missing. That also constitutes plagiarism because it's not clear whose voice it is, whether it is the authorial voice or whether it is borrowed voice. You have to be very clear in this regard. Okay, any questions? Yes, students, do you wish to ask me anything?
Sir, the AI generated data, can we say that AI is also copying the data from previous writers only? Because that already exists. AI only gives us the same thing. Can we say this?
It is like this. But how do you know that what is generated by AI is from the source that it says it took it from? For example, AI says, I took this particular quote from ELTJ 2024. Author is Philipson. Page number 45. And it gives you the title. Unless you go back to the ELTJ paper and verify things for yourself, you can never be sure. Because a friend of mine reported this. His student actually used AI to write the synopsis. And the names of many authors were fictitious. Their names simply did not exist. And sometimes ChatGPT is also known to confess, like humans do, that it lied. There are very interesting articles in the New York Times about this. ChatGPT lies. It utters lies. So you cannot trust AI, Gen AI, 100%. And when challenged, ChatGPT sometimes says, yes, it is not true. So it can stretch the truth. They have also taught, the software programmers have also taught ChatGPT to lie, which is unfortunate. So in trying to make it think like a human being, they are also teaching it the evil that human beings are known for. That's why fact checking is very, very important. Again, please understand that the machine collects data from across the internet. How do you know that a particular fact is true? For example, I'll give you an example.
Okay, sir.
I'll give you an example. I fed this to ChatGPT. I asked ChatGPT to provide me with some points about Einstein being a plagiarist. ChatGPT provided me with 20 points. It said Einstein did not acknowledge the works of Henry Poincaré, Dutch physicist Henrik Lorentz, and then David Hilbert, and then Ricci Levi-Civita. So it gave me a series of names saying that these men also were familiar with general theory of relativity, just as Einstein was. These men also were the precursors to Einstein's special theory of relativity. In fact, they had come up with the idea even before Einstein had. Now, Do you see a problem here?
Yes, sir.
What's a problem?
That it might be false. Like you said that we have to check the facts, and it could be, what we are asking it and what the response we are getting. We have to go through everything first before we use it.
Let me give you an example. Between
Okay.
1905 and 1955, see, 1905 is when special theory of relativity came out. In 1915, he published general theory of relativity. During the time that Einstein was alive, there were several eminent mathematicians and physicists. If Einstein had been a plagiarist, everything would have come out in the wash back then. And it is not so easy to be called a celebrated physicist and mathematician when you have plagiarized everything, because you will have to argue your case in the presence of some of the finest minds in mathematics and physics. You can fool one mathematician, you can fool some mathematicians or physicists. Do you think you can fool a whole set of mathematicians and physicists? For example, Einstein's general theory of relativity was subjected to the closest of scrutiny. Every assumption of his was questioned. And remember that Einstein was a Jew. So there were more eyes trained on Einstein's achievements than there were for physicists who were non-Jewish. So Einstein had to put up with anti-Semitism. And he was also challenging Newtonian theory of relativity, which was breaking the foundations of, which was actually shaking the foundations of physics. Right? So for anybody to say that he's a plagiarist, all right, requires enough evidence, robust evidence. And the person, take me for example, am I qualified to go anywhere near Einstein field equations? Mind you, when Einstein formulated general theory of relativity, there were only 5 to 7 men who understood it. Then the number expanded. Initially, there were only 5 or 7 men who understood it. People like Erwin Schrödinger, Max Planck, Arthur Eddington, S. Chandrasekhar, and so on. And these men were some of the finest brains the globe has seen. So, what discovery they were not able to make between 1905 and 1955, do you think Vishwanathan now in 2025 would have made it? And I'm not a physicist. I'm not a trained physicist or mathematician. I don't know what the equations stand for, but I can give a prompt to ChatGPT like anybody can, just for the fun of it. And books have also been written, 3 or 4 books of very dubious nature, challenging his intellectual capabilities. During the time that he lived, Einstein was a celebrity. And let me tell you, these equations are not easy to solve. And you have to provide every doubting Thomas with enough mathematical evidence to show that you are right. And he had to do that day after day. And mind you, he also headed the Department of Physics in Princeton University, an Ivy League university in the United States. So when you go about gathering evidence, when you go about gathering data, you can't fool around. That's why when using AI, you have to be very careful.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, fine. All right. Now, you have to obtain respect intellectual property. Every copyrighted material, wherever it is taken from, should be duly acknowledged. Please remember, you may have taken something from the internet. You may have downloaded it from Google Images or Google Scholar. Even then, you have to go to the URL and you have to acknowledge it. That's important. Always do this. You make it a habit. Accurately represent data. Do not manipulate results to fit hypothesis or omit inconvenient findings. Sometimes you may come across certain findings and discoveries which are very startling. You acknowledge that in your research. You don't lose anything. This acknowledgement is the first step towards enlightenment. It also inform readers about your intellectual honesty, which is very important when you carry out research. Now, do not compel, pressurize, blackmail anyone into including your name as one of the authors. So this actually happens across HEIs. Professors who compel their juniors to include their name as one of the authors, professors who compel researchers under their pastoral care and outside their care to include their name as one of the researchers. This again is very, very highly unethical. And don't hold out this "you scratch my back, I scratch yours" deals to manipulate your way into publishing. This can have very serious consequences for your career. I'll give you an example. In one IIT, there was this professor who had 34 retractions to his name. Do you know what a retraction is? Retraction. RETRACTION.
Coming back, sir, taking the degrees back.
Yeah, no, not the degree. You publish a paper. When the validity, reliability of the paper is challenged, you withdraw the paper.
Formal withdrawal of the published research, I think.
Correct. Formal withdrawal of published research. He did it not once, but 34 times. So what does this tell you about the quality of research that he carried out? And what does this also tell you about the intellectual honesty of the person? The minute he chose to retract it, it's an indication that he knew what he was doing, right? And if you do it once or twice, it is fine. 34 times? There's something wrong there, right?
Yes, sir.
And don't force any researcher to include names just because you are in a position to dictate terms. When I say include names, not only the name of the guide, but also the names of his other researchers. This particular supervisor may be guiding 8 researchers. Now he wants to increase publication count. And he wants to ensure that every student of his gets as many publications as they can get without contributing to it. So what he does is he goes to student 1 and he gets student 1 to perform the experiment. And then he says, include my name as first author, your name as second author, and the names of all other researchers as third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh authors. So one student 1 publishes a paper with all other names in it. Likewise, student 2 publishes a paper with all other names in it. In other words, in each of the 8 papers published, the original contributor was only 1 student, but all other names were added because the guide supervisor forced them to add names. This also happens. And sometimes it happens across IITs, across institutes, because it's a case of you help me, I'll help you. Now, this actually vitiates the atmosphere. It can actually... Yeah, please.
Sir, I have a doubt.
Ask me, please.
Sir, in case, like this is a different kind of retraction that you talked about. Sir, in case what happens, like sometimes what happens is when we submit papers, through international conferences or national seminars, there are chances that the process gets delayed or there are some other challenges that an institution goes through.
Right.
So in case if we retract our paper there, then it is fine, right?
That is absolutely. See, again, there is a legal way to do it.
Yeah, if we drop a mail, right? Like if we drop a mail
correct.
that due to certain academic concerns, we wish to withdraw the, like retract the paper. So that is fine,
Not
right?
only that, sometimes you retract the paper because of the attitude of the editor or the publisher. They promise to publish a paper in 3 months' time. And
Yeah,
it is
that is
9
right,
months.
correct.
9 months they have not published it. They have not given you any feedback. They are being very, very unprofessional. Then you retract the paper. Then
Yeah,
you
yeah,
are
this is
retracting the paper for very, very valid reasons. But when the editor of a journal, reputed journal, writes to you asking you to retract your paper or asking you to justify the inclusion of paper or asking you to justify the results you have published, and you are not able to provide them with any justification, when you know that much of what you have written in that paper is crap, masquerading as scholarship, that is when it's an intellectually dishonest exercise. For very valid and honest reasons, you can redact the paper. Or sometimes what happens is, having written a paper at the last minute, after you carry out the experiment a second time or a third time, you come to the conclusion that the experiments, the results arrived at initially are inaccurate. They don't agree with the experiments carried out a second time or a third time. Then, being intellectually honest, you want to retract the paper saying that I have been able to detect some problems in my own paper. You are retracting the paper not because somebody pointed out a fault, but because you yourself were able to detect those faults, right? You are doing it for very honest reasons, yes. If retraction is for very honest reasons, yes, absolutely. There is nothing wrong about retraction. But when somebody brings errors to your notice and you know that despite these errors being present, you got the paper published because it will give you points, then that is intellectually dishonest.
Correct. Thank you, sir.
Right.
Excuse me, sir.
Please go on. Ask me.
That the internet, we have to give it.
Student, your voice is breaking. I'm sorry for the typo. It's all garbled. Please type it.
Okay. Good evening.
Good evening. I have a doubt, sir, regarding.
Yeah, please go on. Go on.
Sir, generally paid versions, paid journals, we need to pay 1 lakh and above for the double indexing, like Scopus and Web of Science.
Right, correct. Web of Science, correct. Right, correct.
Yes. Sir. So, scholar may not, for example, I may not be able to afford a huge amount.
Right, correct.
Is there any wrong thing that to involve other scholars or faculty members in a different institutions?
Good question.
Because even they too contribute after going through the paper, any corrections. It is happened to me, sir. That's why I'm sharing very personally.
No, absolutely. See, what happens is, let us say you have an excellent paper, but the Scopus Indexed or Web of Science journal is not ready to publish it unless you pay the publishing fee of $1,500.
Yes, sir.
So let us say there is a private institute, private university, which is actually willing to foot the bill, provided one of their faculty members is also considered an author.
Yes, sir.
Okay, this deal actually happens. Ideally speaking, you wrote the paper, but you got it published because the publication fee you were unable to afford and somebody else was willing to do it. So here it is a case of symbiosis. You benefit from the deal and they also benefit from the deal. All right. Now, ideally speaking, I would say it is unethical, because why should somebody who did not have any role to play in writing the paper or in carrying out the experiment benefit from it? But you see, here it is also a question of urgency. It's also a question of necessity. You don't have the money, he provided you or she provided you with the money, or the institute provided you with the money. So why should you not both benefit? And sometimes the unwritten law is, if everybody cheats, it is fair to cheat.
Yes, sir.
Right. So I have no definite answer in black and white to this. I cannot say this is unethical. I will not also say this is ethical. It's very difficult to determine.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
My university, we have publication criteria to publish 2 double indexing papers and 2 single indexing papers.
Right.
Okay, sir. So in such cases, I need to take support of others in the sense other faculty members.
Naturally, no, because you have to benefit and they also have to benefit.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
See, it's very simple. Okay. It's like answering the question, was the United States justified in bombing Hiroshima and Nagasaki?
Okay. Understood, sir.
Yeah, the answer is both yes and no. Yes, sir, because the other. Yeah, please.
Sir, the other person will also get the same advantage?
No, sir. No, sir.
If both of them are going to derive,
will change, no, sir. When I write, my name will be the first place and followed by my supervisor, and rest of them 3, 4, 5th collaborators. But I won't give my first priority. I will be in my own priority.
See, it is first a question of
first author.
It is also a question of saving yourself and saving others. See, absolutely. Your career is important for you. Their career is important for them. There is somebody who has the money, and then there is somebody who has scholarship.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Immaculate has a good question. Acknowledging data that was taken has to be, yes, it is. But you will have to go to APA. See, what you need to do is just go to APA format. You either buy the book or you go to net and type. I have taken a reference from the internet. How do I acknowledge it? It will actually tell you that if it is taken from the internet with page number or without page number, if it is taken from the internet and the source is not available, how do you acknowledge it? All right. There are various formats given. You have to use the format. All right. Or right where you have cited, you can simply give the URL to show that you have not copied anything. You have acknowledged. You can use the URL, but when you use the URL, you have to say when it was downloaded, because data keeps changing. What is available on 25th November may not be available after 25th November. So you have to specify the date, time, downloaded at, downloaded from, and then give the URL. That's important. Okay. Right. Any questions, please?
Sir, yes, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Okay, please go on.
Sir,
good evening, sir.
Okay. Carry
yeah,
on.
please go on.
Hello.
Yeah, go on, please.
Sir, I have a small question, sir.
Yeah, please ask.
If we are paying the papers for publications through paid journals, how they will remove the plagiarism, sir? We just pay a few minutes ago, ma'am raised a question, sir. We are paying like 1.5 lakh, like yes. That.
See,
we simply pay the amount through the corresponding faculty, some paid journal.
Right.
I have a question. How they will we just pay and let we wait up to 10 months or 1 year. It will take time to publish. But how they will remove the plagiarism, sir?
Wait a minute. They have policies. The first policy is there are predatory journals. Predatory journals don't check anything. They only ask you for payment. You cannot publish in such journals. There are SCI, Scopus Science Citation Indexed, and Scopus Indexed journals. Now, these journals have a set of rules and regulations. First, your paper is sent. After your paper is sent, it is thoroughly reviewed. After it is reviewed, and after the reviewers say, yes, this seems to be good work, you have to submit a similarity index report. In other words, you will have to use Turnitin, or Kund, or any of the anti-plagiarism software or similarity index detection software, and then the journal very clearly specifies that they will publish your work only if plagiarism is below a certain percent. It's usually 10%, not plagiarism, it's called similarity index. Okay. Now you have to send all the documents to them. After you send all the documents to them, they say that if you want to see your journal published online, or if you want a hard copy, you will have to pay us $1,500. They make one thing very, very clear at the beginning. Any journal that is selected for publication will have to necessarily the author will have to part with the processing charges. They say that we do it because nobody does reviewing for free. Very few of them would review for free because they are contributing their time and their efforts. They have to be adequately compensated. Right. And exactly. Only those people who are really interested in research will want to spend $1,500 or $1,700 trying to publish their work in Scopus Index journals. People who are jobless and people who do not want to publish in standard journals will never approach these journals. So in order to preserve quality, in order to ensure that quality is maintained, at the same time reviewers are honored with honorarium, these journals insist on payment.
Okay, but those are publishing some international journals also, sir.
See, there are different categories of journals. If it is listed in SCIMAGO, SCIMAGO, then that journal is a standard journal. The fact that a journal charges $1,500 does not mean it's an inferior journal to journals which don't charge. If it is Scopus indexed, it is as reputed as any other journal. The only difference being this journal's editorial policies very clearly state that payment has to be made. That's it.
Okay. And the question was, sir, why always desk rejection will appear, sir? Always, for every review?
See, many reasons. There are plenty of reasons actually. One reason for desk rejection is the scope and aim of the particular paper does not align with the aim and scope of the journal. And sometimes the editor feels that this is AI generated. They have their own means of checking out. Okay. And once they check out, once they know that this is plagiarized, then they do not want to publish it. Therefore, they very politely say that we have no scope. We cannot publish it. Okay. There are several reasons actually. Then sometimes they will not specify it because they suspect people from the global south of plagiarism. And sometimes it could be plain racism or xenophobia. We don't really know.
Okay.
Right. Now, Immaculate. Yeah, correct. Why does it take? See, please understand, Immaculate, that yours is not the only paper that goes to the journal. There is a waiting list. You have to understand this. So even as you submit papers to journals, there are hundreds of others who have submitted their papers to the journal. So on the basis of when the journal paper was submitted and on the basis of which paper is superior to which other paper, the editors take a decision. For example, if they feel that this particular issue needs to have these many papers, all of which can be clubbed under, say, one category or one group, then they will publish those papers first. It is decided on the basis not only of first come, first served, it is also decided on several other parameters. If the editors feel that certain topics which are very topical, such as Gen AI, using ChatGPT in language learning, should take precedence over traditional topics, then they will ask the person who has contributed in other areas of ELT to wait. That's why it takes a lot of time.
Okay. My research area is related to ELT, sir. ELT only.
Okay, ELT, English language. Fine.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
And sometimes what happens is, to answer Immaculate's question, sometimes it takes more than a year to publish because, and I know this because a friend of mine told me this, 2 reviewers have commented positively about a paper, but the 3rd reviewer is very critical about the paper. So they will send it to a 4th reviewer. If the 4th reviewer is equally critical of the paper, then they will want major changes carried out. Sometimes it so happened that in a particular Scopus Index journal, the name of which I would not like to mention, one person was trying to bulldoze his way into getting the paper published. To reviewers from the United States of America said yes. But one reviewer from Iran was highly critical. She tore the paper apart. She said, "What do you mean? What do you mean?" And then this person was saying, "I'm a senior professor in a university." She said, "Don't pull your rank here. Don't tell me that because you're a professor, your paper should be published. The paper has to conform to all the rules and regulations, and it has to be statistically robust." So that can also explain why there is a delay.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
All right.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. You have clarified all my doubts.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Sir,
now-
sir, excuse me, sir.
Yeah, please.
So without using any technology, do we think the articles or journals are coming out? Definitely, they use the technology, sir, in this era. Many.
Absolutely. Yes. Everybody does it. See, the minute you publish something online, you are using technology. When you are
Yes.
accessing journals from Google Scholar, you are using technology. You cannot survive without technology.
And nowadays, everyone is following the ChatGPT, sir.
Yes, correct.
Then how can we genuinely think that article is a right one or wrong?
Very simple. To a very trained eye. For example, a friend of mine sent me a paper and then he said, "Take a look at it." One look at it, I said, "This is ChatGPT generated." Looking at the language and looking at how polished it is in some places and how badly written it is in some places, you can easily find out. But it requires a trained eye. Like I told you, if you have been reading papers in SCI Scopus Index journals, original papers, all right, you will intuitively know that somebody is trying to lie their way through, somebody is trying to actually pass off AI generated material.
Okay.
Right. There is no hard and see here. I cannot have a set of parameters using which you can determine. Even AI for that matter cannot determine. But based on the background knowledge that you have, you can immediately guess that something is wrong.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, please.
Sir, one of my friend, when I asked him, so he told me that, sir, so there is peer-reviewed journals which publish articles every month. Is it right, sir?
Not every month. There are peer-reviewed journals which publish articles every other day. You give it to them today, they'll publish it tomorrow. Give it to them tomorrow, they'll publish it day after tomorrow. There are several such journals.
So is they are genuine or predatory? How you can?
Again, you see, some of them are predatory. Some of them have been in existence for so many years that what appears as content is fairly okay. And again, you see, this is basically a system in which you and I have been dragged into. Now we cannot come out of the system.
Yes, sir.
Right. UGC insists that you publish in UGC care listed journals. So whether or not you like it, when you're doing your PhD, you have to publish. It is a big racket that is run by everybody. See, to give you one example, have you come across this?
What's?
There is a festival, there is an event called Dhanteras.
No, sir.
Yes, sir. The Deepavali time, sir. We'll celebrate the Dhanteras.
Okay.
This is something called Dhanatrayodasi. So the assumption is, if you purchase gold on this day, gold will continue to flow into your home all through the year.
Okay, sir.
Is there any rational basis for this?
No, sir.
And who do you think came up with this brilliant idea?
Beliefs.
Jewelers.
Yes, sir.
Jewelers would like to sell as much gold as they can and make profit off people's back. So how do you do this? You appeal to their religious sentiments. If you buy a lot of gold on this day, even if you buy 1 tula of gold, over several years, you will receive the same wealth as Mukesh Ambani or Anil Ambani or Salman Khan, which I would say is nonsense. But because you have been able to hook them to it, because you have used the right psychological trick, you have been able to trick people. That is exactly what journals do. Every journal says it is peer reviewed. Every journal says it is indexed in EBASCO, SCI, Scopus and all that. But very few journals there are which are genuine. Because it meets our needs and because it meets your needs, we are all happy with it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right. That's how it is. Right. For example, we know that Swiggy, Zomato, Big Basket workers are cheated. They are paid a pittance. We continue to rely on Amazon, Big Basket, Zomato, and Swiggy to deliver, give us everything. We talk about Manavatvam, Insaniyat, and all that. Right. But we never bother to check whether the Swiggy, Zomato person had his breakfast or lunch. Yeah, yes, like somebody said, it's the other way around. We have to offer gold to someone. Actually, the concept behind Dhanteras is on that day you're supposed to contribute a lot to charity. Dhanam dharmam jayali. Logon ko dena hai. But they twisted the story around its head and then said, no, you have to buy gold. And people caught it. Again, yes, immaculate. Journal paper content. What should see? It is enough if it is in simple English, but please understand that there is something called language of research. It has to be scholarly enough. For example, when you write a PhD thesis, you cannot write it the way you write a newspaper article. It has to be robust and it has to manifest scholarship. It may be in plain English, good English. Academic language, correct. Shivangi Gandhi put it correctly. Academic language. It is English for academic purposes. So you have to know that genre when you write a paper. Right. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Right. Now you see, ethics also mean that you have to describe your methodology so clearly that others should be able to replicate your work. For example, I collected data pertaining to my area of research in say sociology. Now, having collected data, this data should be replicable by somebody carrying out the same experiment under similar set of circumstances in Ghana or in say South Africa or in some part of India. Variation will emerge only when the food habits or cultural practices of a particular community vary markedly from the cultural and food practices and other practices of another community. In which case you say that I also followed the same method, but my results are different because of the following reasons. Then please ensure that you don't reveal the name, roll number, identity of anybody you're collecting data from. Protect sensitive or personal data collected during your research. Particularly, let's say you're collecting data from cancer patients, or you're collecting data from patients with a history of mental illness, or you're collecting data from teachers working in schools. You have to ensure that confidentiality is maintained. You cannot reveal in any manner whatsoever the identity of any of the stakeholders. You cannot sell data. You cannot also part with the data to third parties or fourth parties, because any data that you part with can be misused. This is something that you should always keep in mind. Even if it is a close friend, even if he or she wants to see data, you give them, show them data, but don't reveal the source, the agency you collected data from. This is very, very important. Please remember this, because this is also part of ethics. In fact, you are bound by a confidentiality clause. So much so that any data that is collected should be used only for research purposes, nothing beyond that. Then you have to follow institutional guidelines. For example, at IIT Warangal, we have guidelines, very clear guidelines. Similarity index should not be more than 15% or 16%. And then you're expected to very clearly state that you have not copied any part of the thesis in any form whatsoever from any source. And that if it is detected at a later stage that you actually copied everything, your thesis can be cancelled. Your admission can also be cancelled. So you have to be very specific. You have to also take heed. ensure, read the institutional guidelines before you proceed to carry out research. If your research involves human or animal subjects, confirm ethical approval and discuss how rights were safeguarded. For example, you cannot subject any animal to torture. Again, you cannot ask questions that can be deemed highly offensive or provocative to anyone you're collecting data from. You can also not collect any data based on questions which are called leading questions. For example, you ask a question for which there can only be one answer. All right. For example, when I ask somebody, don't you think immigration is a problem in India? You are actually asking that person to tell you that immigration is a problem. These are known as leading questions. They lead you towards a certain ideology or a certain point of view. And based on these answers, you come to the conclusion that immigration is a problem when it is not. All right. So you have to adhere strictly to guidelines to ensure that there is a great degree of objectivity and fairness observed when collecting data. You can also not make statements like statements which are sexist. Well, there is a general belief that women are intellectually inferior to men. What is your take on it? When you say there is a general belief, you have not told us who believes so. All right. And when you ask this of a man, you would say, yes, yes, men are superior to women in intellect. And that again is false data. You have to have evidence, rock solid evidence. And even then, you cannot come up with any evidence that can be deemed casteist, racist, or sexist. Please remember this. You cannot target any caste, any gender, any ethnicity, any category in the name of research, in the name of data collection. You have to respect their sentiments, you have to respect their rights. That's important. Any questions for me?
No, sir. Carry on the class, sir.
Okay. Avoid exaggeration or overstating the significance of your findings. See, any data that you collect is from a limited number of people. And sometimes when you go in for qualitative data, what happens is the number of participants will come down to 25 or 30. Based on 25 or 30 participants, you cannot overgeneralize and say this applies across the length and breadth of India, or this applies across the state of Telangana or Andhra Pradesh. These assumptions are very foolish and they are also highly insensible. Keep accurate records. See, you have to maintain detailed, organized notes for verification and accountability. You cannot spin something just because you felt lazy and did not feel like collecting data. Whatever data, wherever you collect it from, will have to be accompanied by evidence or documentary evidence. WhatsApp images, emails, diary logs, and so on. Ensure the thesis reflects your own intellectual contribution and critical thinking. See, don't copy ideas from all and sundry and pass them off as your own. Okay, you have carried out review of literature, you have done homework, all right, you have done what is required. Now, what is it that you are trying to tell us? Please state your views. Don't try to pass off somebody else's views as your own, and don't try to be subtle about it. You be very plain, you be very outspoken. Tell me what conclusions you arrived at. That's important. Don't submit the same work or results to multiple outlets without disclosure. For example, I write a paper, then I use AI to rewrite the paper. There's some background noise, please.
Sir, now you unmuted, sir. I have muted all mics.
Okay. Okay, now I have unmuted myself. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Right. See, if you have submitted your paper to a journal You cannot submit the same paper to another journal. That is dishonest. Many have done it. Many were also caught. Never do that. If it is under review, you wait for the journal to complete the review process and then say whether the article can be accepted or rejected. If the journal says they have rejected the articles, they can take the article elsewhere, only then should you pull it out and send a formal letter to the editor of the journal saying that you are pulling out the paper from the journal and that you would like to have it published elsewhere. The minute you tell them this, only then can you go ahead and publish it elsewhere. Supposing the editor of the previous journal questions you, you can always tell him, I sent you a mail in which I very clearly stated that since you have rejected my paper, I'm taking it elsewhere. Now there is no way you can say, why did you take it elsewhere? You need evidence in the form of mail. You send a mail from your official mail ID, not your personal mail ID. If you are with a college that has given you your personal mail ID, communicate with the journals using that mail ID, not your personal mail ID, and keep a record of it. Use AI tools responsibly. You have to ensure that you have to tell them that you used AI tools. That's important. And even when paraphrasing, like I told you before, credit the original authors and thinkers. This is very, very important. Be fair in citation. See, what I mean by be fair in citations is do not misrepresent, misquote an author. Supposing an author claims that bilingual method is a very good method to use, you cannot misquote the author and say that this author is of the belief that bilingual method is not of much use when he clearly did not say that. You cannot assume things. You have to go by facts. All right, that's what is meant by being fair in citations. Avoid selective referencing to support your viewpoint. Represent the field comprehensively. If you are working in a particular area, it could be any area of research, particularly in the social sciences and humanities, there will be points of view which favor a particular ideology. There will be points of view which oppose a particular theoretical framework or ideology. You will have to bring the two of them together, explain the strengths and weaknesses of each, and then arrive at your own conclusions. This way, you're telling the reader that you did your homework before submitting the thesis. Your analysis, graphs, and written interpretation must align and be traceable to raw data. See, any conclusion that you arrive at should be based solely on the data that you used. You cannot come with conclusions of your own or conclusions which are independent of data. You cannot have any recommendation that is independent of data. If data says one thing and you come to some other conclusion, then it's a very clear indication of violation of ethical principles. All right, you worked in an area, you reported something, and then the conclusions you arrived at contravene what you have reported earlier. That is reductio ad absurdum. It's simply absurd. This is something that you should always keep in mind. All right. Seek honest feedback. Yeah, please.
So I just noted all the points. So.
Okay. Then strive for honesty, humility, and respect. Not broader, it is broader research community. Okay. So when somebody challenges your assumptions at the time of pre-synopsis or at the time of progress review presentation, accept the criticism if you think the criticism is fair. Try arguing with them. Try telling them that this is your point of view. Try telling them in a manner that is charming, that is persuasive, not a manner that is threatening or bulldozing. That's important. If a friend has helped you, if somebody has helped you, acknowledge them duly, either in the acknowledgement section or in the body of the thesis, if you can quote that friend or that well-wisher who has published a paper. You can do that in introduction section. See, report conflict of interest. This is very, very important. For example, A researcher writing about a drug that cures cancer when he is being funded by a pharmaceutical company that manufactures the drug he or she is writing about cannot be objective. If my research is funded by Johnson & Johnson and Johnson & Johnson has put out a drug in the market which is deemed a cure for cancer, and I'm writing a paper supporting Johnson & Johnson's drug, it is a clear indication of conflict of interest. I am being funded by a company which is manufacturing this drug. Therefore, I cannot be expected to be objective when reporting on the efficacy of the drug. All right. Again, I publish in a journal where the chief editor is my own supervisor. If he is my own supervisor, there will be a lot of bias. And I am publishing in the journal because it will be easy for me to publish. So where there is a conflict of interest, you have to think 10 times before you go ahead and publish it. Because in India, it's not considered a crime. In fact, in India, nothing is considered a crime. You can do anything you want as long as you are not caught. In Telugu, we say, Dorukte donga lekunte dora. So you continue to be a dora for as long as you are not caught. Pakada gaya to chor, nahi to mem saheb, bada saheb. But in foreign countries, that is not the case. If they note a conflict of interest, they will definitely punish the publisher. They will publish the author of the paper. They will blacklist the university he is from, he is with, and so on. That's why you got to be very, very careful. Sometimes what happens is, if you don't report any conflict of interest in a journal, you have a publication in, SCI publication in, then what will happen is, you may be barred from publishing in the journal permanently or for a period of 3 years. They take very stringent action. Foreign journals, reputed foreign journals, please remember this. Okay, so I have come to the end of my presentation. Any questions? Anything you wish to ask me, please?
Sir.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, please.
So one last question, sir. So
Okay.
you have told that is after submitting a journal to, submitting a paper to a particular journal, but we have to wait only after the reviews or results which we get. We are delayed means only after announcing or mailing to them, we have to put our paper in another journal. So what one mistake I have done is I had waited for more than a year, and because we were running out of time and we were under a pressure to finish it in the coming year, so we requested, and we approached the center, and they told you can do it with you can put it in another journal, and they have requested to another journal also. But we were not aware of this problems which you have conveyed today. But what is my question is there any ideas or mails or suggestions to be followed for that, sir, or we have to convey or get permission or whatever it is?
First thing, thank you so much. It's a very good question.
Hello.
First thing, if you want to, when you write to the editor, tell them, give them the reference. Sir, this is with regard to the paper titled, etc., 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 that we sent to your journal on, mention the date. Okay? Context, establish a context. Then I would like to know the status of the paper. Given the fact that it's more than a year since we sent the paper for review, I would like to know the status, current status. In case the journal has no plans to publish the paper, we would like to know if we can retract the paper. We would like to know the stage at which the review is under. So you will have to very clearly state all this, providing contexts. Send not one mail, send 2 or 3 mails. And you have to start pestering. Let us say you are given a year in which to publish. Don't wait till the 9th month or 10th month. After the 4th month or 5th month, you have to write to the journal editor. They are expected to get back to you if they are professional. Then after the 6th month also, you write to the journal editor. Send a series of mails. Then what you need to do is take a printout of the mail. All you have to do is you go to the right-hand side, and when you click, Gmail offers you the facility to save the mail as a PDF file. Are you aware of this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What you need to do is send a series of mails, reminding them, sending them reminders, polite reminders. After the 5th or 6th mail, when no communication is received from the editor, and when you know that it's an exercise in futility waiting for the journal to send a review, tell them that you're pulling out the paper. Don't do it at first go. Do it after the 5th or 6th attempt, after giving them enough reminders. Now the journal cannot take it out on you. They cannot say that you were dishonest. They cannot say that because you have evidence. You can tell them, I sent you a series of mails, none of which was replied to. Therefore, I'm taking this action. Please let us know the status. There is no harm in asking somebody the status of a paper, right?
Okay, so one clarification, sir. As you said, I had requested them 4 to 5 times, and the same reply I got was, it is under review process. It is the same.
If you run out of patience, see, there comes a time when you run out of patience, right?
Yes, sir. So after this,
after the 4th attempt, you sent them a mail saying that I would like to pull out my paper. I do not want to publish it in the journal because of several constraints. So please permit me to pull the paper out of your journal. Please accept this as formal confirmation that I'm pulling the paper out of your journal. Full stop.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
We would like to have it published elsewhere. Full stop. So they have to either say yes to the idea or no to the idea.
Yes, sir. Yes.
You have to be categorical there, right?
Fine, sir.
Yes, sir. This happened with me also. After several reminders, they were like, they are still in the process. They're not getting good quality papers. Then I waited for 2-3 months. Then I decided to finally retract the paper, and I said that citing academic reasons, because of course nothing is personal, but then there is a process to everything. If there are no strict timelines from there, and then we as scholars also have certain priorities to fix.
Correct. Exactly. You can't wait indefinitely, right?
Exactly. So also they were not giving any feedback as to what is their timeline, what is the review,
exactly,
what is
whether it is
going
being
on.
even reviewed. Yeah, correct. Right.
Sir, excuse me. Sir.
Okay. Yeah.
I hesitate to ask a very simple question, sir. Is it
please,
necessary? Sir, is it necessary or mandatory to keep the rough records we prepared during the course of our research or writing an article to justify our work? Is the supervisor can demand for this?
They can. And not only that, it is always good to keep a record. You should have a record. And in this day and age, when we have what is known as RTI, Right to Information Act, you need to keep documentary evidence of everything. It is not a case of, I told my supervisor, she told me this and all that. Unless you have record, how will you even produce in a court of law or to a committee that you are doing your work, but others were not doing theirs, right? There is such a thing as accountability. You have to understand that.
Yes.
And unless you produce evidence to the effect, supposing you want to change your guide is a waste of space. You want to change your guide. And the guide says, I have been guiding this person all through, but he never met me. Whereas fact is, you met this person every week. Where is the evidence that you met the person every week? That's why keep sending them mails. Keep telling them, Madam or Sir, I would like to meet you this week to discuss my work with you. Please let me know your availability. I would like to meet you between this time and this time. When you keep sending mails from your personal mail account or from your official mail account, you have written evidence. Written evidence matters everywhere. Recorded evidence matters everywhere. You cannot simply say that, well, I met my madam and my madam also met me. Then they say, where is the proof? Where is the evidence? What evidence will you show them? That's why you have to have all the drafts ready. Yes. You do what it takes to carry out research conscientiously. So much so that nobody will be able to point an accusing finger at you. Finally, your good karma or bad karma will not come to your rescue. Your guide will not come to your rescue. Only the evidence you have with you will come to your rescue. Please understand that.
Yes, sir.
And
Thank you,
evidence
sir.
is 9 points of the law, right?
Yes.
For example, this talk is being recorded. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Because you have to produce evidence.
Yes, sir.
If and when required, that yes, this man delivered a lecture. And the organizers have a duty to let everyone know that they were performing their job conscientiously. Tomorrow there could be allegations from somebody saying that you're trying to loot us. No participant ever came to the lecture and nobody ever delivered a lecture. So how do you expect the organizers to show that they indeed were delivered? Only by means of recording, right?
Correct, sir.
You can't swear in the name of your God, Lord Venkateshwara or Jesus Christ that this is what you did. No, that will not sell. That will not hold water. Okay, class.
I request all the
assume you have another
participants to
lecture
open
coming
their
up.
cameras. We will have a
Yes, sir.
screenshot.
Yes, sir.
Take a screenshot. I request all the participants to open their cameras. Sir, excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
I'll take a screenshot. Wait, sir.
Oh, sure. I assume there is another talk coming up, so it will be unethical on my part to continue.
No, sir. Wait, 1 minute, sir. Thank you very much, Dr. Raja, sir. Raja Vishwanathan, sir, for a truly and insightful and intellectually engaging session on practicing ethics in research. You brought to light the real challenges faced in today's research culture, undue pressure to publish, the demand to obtain grants, and the compulsion to remain competitive. As a seasoned research guide, your observations on the shortcomings and vulnerabilities of researchers and your powerful remark on the rise of a research racket served as an important reality check for all of us. Your emphasis on academic honesty was deeply impactful. You explained how arriving at conclusions without proper study or experimentation constitutes fabrication, falsification, misrepresentation of the data, can mislead the academic world. Supported with relatable examples such as mental health studies in higher education learners, average income analysis in metropolitan context, and generalization based on limited samples in heterogeneous areas. Sir, your light humor made us reflect on the paradoxes of research without ever losing the seriousness of the message. Your clear explanation of different types of plagiarism helped us understand how ethical breaches often happen without awareness. You reminded us that the maintaining integrity means doing research ethically, respecting intellectual property, representing data truthfully, and giving due credit to all collaborators. Your strong point on acknowledging sources even during paraphrasing and your reminder to never force authorship highlighted mature academic values. Sir, your clarity in explaining how and why papers get retracted, along with the counseling like tips you offered for enhancing our research behavior, added immense value to today's session. Thank you very much, sir, for guiding us with honesty, wisdom, and remarkable clarity. Your session has left a lasting impression and has reinforced our commitment to practicing research ethically and responsibly. Thank you once again, sir.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Sir, thank you so much for the lasting impression on having values and integrity, not just in research, for throughout of our life. Thank you so much, sir. I'm very grateful for this lecture.
Okay, thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Thank
Bye,
you, sir. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Goodbye, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Bye. See you, sir. Next,
Bye, sir.
We'll move into another session. Pragna ma'am, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, thank you, ma'am. Good evening.
No, I request Dr. Y. Sarnasri madam to give a brief introduction of today's second session speaker, Dr. Pragna Pramita Chayani. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Our second session this evening will be delivered by Dr. Pragna Parimiti Chayani, Assistant Professor of English at VIT Andhra Pradesh University, AP University, Andhra Pradesh. Madam holds a PGDT and BEd in English from IITWW University, Hyderabad, and MPhil in Indian Diaspora from the University of Hyderabad, and a PhD in English from IITWW. Her doctoral thesis offers a fascinating comparative analysis of petrofiction across 4 continents. Dr. Pragna is a member of the globally reputed Petrocultures Research Group, which studies the social and environmental impact of petroleum cultures. Dr. Pragna is also a recipient of the prestigious James Roach Fellowship Award by Osmania University for her research in American literature. Dr. Pragna publications include work in South Asian diaspora, Rupakada, and Says. Dr. Pragna forthcoming publications feature contributions to IUP English Studies, Routledge Handbook, and Says. Dr. Pragna has presented research at national and international conferences organized by the University of Hyderabad, Vishwabharati, and IIT Roorkee, among others. Dr. Pragna's broader research interests include energy, humanities, eco-criticism, Indian diaspora studies, and performing arts. Madam, we are honored to have you with us today to speak on drafting, introduction, and conclusion. Madam, we warmly welcome you. The session is now yours.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am, and hello, everyone. So my session, as I was notified that my session was from 7 to 8:30 because I have another class that is not a lecture from 8:45 to 9:45. So I will deliver a short one. I will shrink my lecture so that I can talk to you people. More than I talk, I would like to take up your questions and answer. One thing I would like to say in the beginning of my presentation, that kindly ask me questions once I am done. And another thing is, I feel I am no one to suggest that you should do it, you should not do it. No, I will say what I have done and what I have worked and what has worked for me. Then you decide if you are going to adopt that method or not. Okay. So I finished my PhD in 23, which is 2 years back. In 2 years, I have publications, as ma'am rightly introduced, in SAGE, in Rupakatha, in South Asian diaspora, and 3 Routledge publications lined up. One is going to be published recently in December, end of December maybe. The other one will be in February 26th. The third one I'm working on that. Other than that, one SAGE paper is also I'm going to publish. And IUP, I'm unable to hear. Am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am. Your voice is audible.
No.
It's clear, ma'am. It's clear.
Yeah. No, I read a participant writing that he could not hear. Okay. So something that I want to say, that something that has worked for me, I will share my experience and you see how much you are going to adopt to my methods. Okay. So one thing I would like to say, that's why I have turned on my camera to make you understand that I am not Ravana. I don't have 10 heads. I have one head, just like a human being like you. If I have published, you people can also publish. Okay. So I will turn off my camera and share my screen. Before starting my presentation, I would like to show you one thing. Just 1 second, I'll share my screen. Okay. Is my screen shared? Can someone respond? Can you see?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So before some time, people are asking about ethics of ethics of journals, right? So this is the article from Gender Trouble to Turntables. This is published by Sage Sociological Bulletin 15 to 20 days ago. So you see how they have reviewed. It's the first reviewed draft, this one. So they gave me, can you see the numbers of lines? The complete paper is now, you see, every line, not sentence, every line is numbered. So like that, every word is also numbered. Somewhere I mentioned that transgender, then somewhere else I talked about, I have mentioned the word queer, then so somewhere else I have mentioned gay. Then the question was, why is the author confused with these three words? Which means if you want to use one word, you need to stick to that. Transgender, then throughout. Gay, throughout. Queer, throughout. Then, other than that, additionally, you need to defend why you are using that word. You need to define and defend also. Why you are using that word, why not others? There are many other words also. Why are you taking up that word? So that is the first one. I will now move to my slides. Okay.
Ma'am, so, that was a Scopus paper? Like that was a Scopus review you received?
You can... It's Sage.
Acha, okay, fine. Thank you.
You can Google Sage and Sociological Bulletin.
Yeah, ma'am, I know Sage.
Yes. So, yeah, this is the topic. I have given 2 images to show the stage of... Is it visible in some... now it's fine. Or maybe it's because of the internet fluctuations. So, okay. So first one, it's Jean Reyes. When she has given an interview, which was published, she said that I don't know other people. I never have known other people. I have only ever written about myself. So this is something I truly believe in. I believe in what works for me, what people have said or what people have written that this is the correct method. I don't know about that. So whatever has worked for me, I will share my experience, my views, my opinions. You see if you are going to take that up or not. Okay. First one, IIT has one system that calls APS. APS stands for Annual Progress Seminar. So end of every year, we have to give one annual progress seminar in front of a committee where there will be professors from the IIT that you are doing PhD in, that one, or PhD from. There will be professors from other IITs and universities. At least 4 to 5 professors will be there. Along with that, it is an open seminar. Most of the time, BTechs will be there. Okay. And from science and technology, from basic sciences and from technology, who have no knowledge what you people are into. So they will ask you different questions. IIT believes that if you cannot make them understand, BTechs understand what you are actually doing, then you have not done the research properly. So before the presentation, what we do, we submit a write-up, at least 40 to 50 pages write-up, that what we have done throughout the year. That one is first submitted, then you will be allowed to give a seminar. This is compulsory. If you could not pass, if you could not satisfy your committee, then you will not be promoted to the next year, and your fellowship will be on hold. They will stop your money immediately. So what happens? We take this one very seriously. So this is my first suggestion. You are in an IIT or not, that is not a fact point here. My point is you need to write once in every 6 months, once at end of the year, whatever is your method. You need to write that. Whatever you are reading, what maybe an article, maybe a book, whatever, you need to summarize that one. Another one, I got this James Roach fellowship that was offered by Osmania. I'm not sure if they are still offering it. So they give this fellowship to one student. They give up and down train ticket and 1 month stay, food, everything they will provide, and you will stay there inside Osmania campus, and you will be able to access their library, which is a very good library. So if you get this fellowship, what will happen? You will be able to access IFLU's library, HCU's library, and Osmania's. The Osmania is the center, that library and Osmania's library. So 4 libraries together you will be able to access. So, and 1 month of rigorous study you have to do, because they need 3 open presentations. I mean, so seminars where when they will call everyone, all of their research scholars will be there, and they will ask you questions. Yeah, is that a question? Okay. So what happened during my stay? I could write the first chapter of my thesis. So kindly search this one. If you can get this fellowship, it is going to be a huge help. Other one, you need to read a lot, and watch and write. You cannot suddenly at the end of your PhD submit one article for a Scopus index and say that why did I get rejected? Because you don't know the tricks. You don't know how to write the paper. You maybe your paper, I'm not putting a question mark on the quality of your paper. The paper in itself might be a very good one, but what the journal wants, you need to learn the tricks, and you need to learn the academic writing also. There is something called creative writing, there is something called academic writing. You need to understand the difference, and trust me, Rome was never built in a day. You can never be perfect in one day. No, you need to start writing from the day 1 of your PhD life. First day, you need to start writing. It's so you give yourself a target, maybe once in 15 days, maybe once in a week, maybe once in 2 months, maybe 3 months. So 3 months you will study, and after 3 months you will write. You summarize movies, no problem. You watch, and then you write the summary of your movies. At one point of time, you will feel that you have many summaries. Now it can be your review paper. And there is something called Gestor. You must have known what is Gestor. This one, you need to visit Gestor every day. Download articles from Gestor and read it. So when I joined PhD, it was one kind of test for me, that every day I would open this one and put one word there allied to my research, and search all the articles which are available. Everything I'll read. So then my supervisor will ask me, you download this and this, and then you read it. Sometimes yes. So sometimes there will be articles which will be very difficult. I mean, it would take in a row 3 days to understand what the. So one day I remember I have a paper in Rupkatha which talks about human rights, and so she gave me one article. Precarity is the concept which was first used by Judith Butler. So she gave me the original article by Judith Butler and said that you write and you don't present, you teach me. You teach me what the article talks about. That article took 4 days for me to finish. I have literally cried to read and understand that article. Please understand. So you need to read to that extent, which will make you cry that you don't understand it. You need to break your head. Okay, and please present papers in conferences. Do not take it for granted. Do not present papers in just XYZ conference where anything can be taken and accepted. Please present papers where you will go and present, and you will see professors are there, students from good universities are there. You will learn a lot there. Visit libraries. If not your library, if your library is not efficient enough to accommodate your scholarly needs, please visit other libraries. There are library fellowships also available. Please look for ICSSR fellowship. So as a research scholar, we must have the content and the credibility, both. If we don't have these two, and we have to mold our research as per the journal or as per the thesis, as per where you are submitting it. Everywhere there is an objective. We need to yield to that objective. If our paper is not yielding, then it will be rejected. The same goes for the thesis as well. Okay. Coming to the introduction and conclusion part, please understand, in academic writing, whatever it is, a paper or an essay, whatever, both conclusion and introduction play a significant role. So your introduction identifies the topic. Okay, you are going to talk about color blue. Now we understand. You are talking about a color. And that color is what? Color is blue. Now you have to give background information. Please don't assume that it is understood already. Everyone knows. No, we don't know. You need to tell us what exactly you are talking about. We don't know what you are going to talk about. Let's say you are going to talk about folk art. Let's say you are going about to folk song. No, we don't know what you understand. Folk song area wise, geographical area wise, it differs. It's different. Folk song of Odisha or folk song of Maharashtra are very different. So what these people are talking about, what they are talking about, maybe the objective is different, maybe the ways are different, maybe the underlying theme is different. So you need to summarize, you need to introduce the background information as well. And please take this one very seriously. I have seen thesis where this introduction is nothing but stories. So that is sheer quote unquote garbage. So let's not produce garbage. Let's be very focused. Your introduction introduces not only the theme, but also the focus of the essay, what you are focused on. And conclusion gives you a closure. So both are important. We always say that when we start writing, it is very hard. It is very difficult. Please understand these words are negative. Hard, difficult, no. Introduction and conclusion, these are not hard or difficult. These are challenging. So when something is very hard or difficult, it is difficult to win or there are chances of failure. But when something is challenging, so that might challenge our credibility or our potential, but eventually we will win if we do it correctly. Okay. So there is always a pressure on us to making a first and last impression. Making a strong first and last impression. So that is always, so this gives us a lot of anxiety. So how to introduce, how to conclude? Oh my God, my impression should, so the impression I'm going to create has to be very good. So that gives us a lot of anxiety. But the real challenges are when we start writing is when we think that the whole of our thesis, now how to make it a concise one, a short one, a small one, but still we are going to introduce our research. So looking at it from the bigger picture, developing a holistic view. So what happens? There is this blank page syndrome, or what we call in easy term, writer's block. We are not going to, we will not be able to write one word. See, the thing is, if you have planned it correctly, this writer's block will never come. Then another challenge happens. Once you start writing, there is no flow. After A, there should be B. After B, there should be C. It's not there. Once it's C, then it's A. Then it's after that, it's Z. Something else, it's like that. And the whole of the structure, that is also not proper. So the content, please understand, introductions content is not the final content. It's just the roadmap. So since we have started one journey, so our destination is somewhere, there should be a map to reach there, right? So introduction is that map. And perfection, as I said, Rome was never built in a day. The day you start writing we start writing our introduction, that is not the last day. We can still edit it. One of my friends present here also, he said when I started writing my thesis, he said that when you have garbage, you can still modify it. But when you have a white sheet of paper, what to do with that? So it's okay to produce garbage in the first place. First draft can be garbage, absolutely fine. So you modify it, you edit it, you re-edit it, re-modify it, go on doing it, no problem. But start. You cannot just holding a piece of paper and pen. You cannot be in peace, or you cannot be lost. Okay. So before going to introduction, I want to tell you one 3-step writing process that is called PWC. So plan, write, and complete. Whatever we write, we go through these 3 stages. What is plan? Plan is when we start writing, before that you have to do it. That is the planning stage where you don't write, you just plan. So this one has to be perfect before. So it may be the introduction of your thesis, it may be your paper, it may be an academic essay. You need to plan. I do it meticulously. Before writing an essay or paper, first 1 week I will only plan, just plan how I am going to do it. So once you have a plan, then you can modify it later. But if you don't have a plan, that takes a lot of time. So first one is you should know your audience, who is going to read that and what is their need or what are their needs. That will make you understand the content, the tone and the language. 3. Then you need to understand why you are doing it, your objective behind writing this. After that, you outline A and B and C and D and E. That's all. This is all. I'm going to talk about this one. I'm going to talk about this one and this one. First, you put all the headings. Subheadings will come later. First, you put the headings. Okay. Then under that heading, you try gathering information. After that, once all your all the pieces of information are ready, then you organize. Okay, now then when you read it, you can also understand that sometimes whatever was your A, now you want that one to be in your C, and your C should go to A. That one becomes A and C becomes C becomes A and A becomes C now. So once everything is ready, you will be able to do that. So that minor changes and all that doesn't take a lot of time, but planning takes a lot of time. Give proper time to your planning. If your planning is perfect, you will never fail. Okay. And there are two approaches. One is direct, one is indirect. I prefer the direct approach. So whenever there is a paper, my first line says what my paper is all about. The present study talks about this. You can read all my papers available online. The first line will say, I will directly jump to the C, saying that I am going to talk, my paper will talk about this one. Then I'll come back and say, because this has happened. So this is the research gap. Then I will say my objective in this paper, then how it is, what are the theories I have drawn upon. All, that's all. Then with keywords, I will do that. But first line, I will always be very direct. Okay. Another one, the pronoun. Be very careful of the pronoun we use. It's not we. I have seen scientific papers. My friends and my juniors, they keep sending me their papers to do a grammar check. I have seen that. So they use the pronoun we, because that's always a collaborative work. Always. They always, it's never an individual one. So they do it we. I prefer the present study. I is the one that I made it my paper very individualistic. Rather, I make it the present study, this study. So establish also credibility by citing. Make this one, the third one is the advice that my supervisor has given. So she said that make the idea complicated, not the language. Make the language quite simple, but make the idea so complicated that people will think, they will keep thinking. But if for every word they have to Google every word, then they will never be at that stage to understand your concepts or your arguments. That will take a lot of time, so they might lose interest. So what you do, you do not, but when I'm saying this, I can also say this thing, or I do understand that there are certain jargons we cannot get rid of. For example, a laptop is a laptop. I cannot call it a dabba, right? So there are certain terms that we need to write or need to mention, but make sure that any point of time there is a jargon, do give a footnote. Don't assume that it is understood. No, it's not understood. Kindly give a footnote. So in my thesis, what I have done, I have given footnotes whenever there is a jargon, but after that also I have given a list of jargons that are used in my thesis. So please make sure to do this if you are at the stage of writing the thesis. An appropriate voice, your tone is very important. Please make sure that your tone is not very rude and your tone is not very diffident. You should sound confident and respectful also. Sometimes, so somewhere I remember in my concluding chapter, I wrote that this is going to solve this problem. So then my supervisor rounded it up and said, are you sure that this is going to solve this problem? So then I said, no, I'm not sure. I'm saying that this can. So exactly, then you write that. that it could possibly solve this problem. Could possibly, which means it might not. So the tone, your language will decide the tone. The choice of words will decide the tone. And also, please be very sure of your cohesion and coherence. Every word is important. Every sentence is important. Every sentence, one sentence should lead to the next, Every chapter, when you are ending it, the last line should say that you are going to begin another chapter and what that chapter will deal with and how it's going to connect with the previous one. If that one you have not established, now the cohesion is lost there. Now I will definitely put a question mark, sir. Why are you writing this one after this? Why not something else? So every time in your thesis, also in your paper, your every sentence, your every word will be thoroughly analyzed, thought, and put there. You cannot just write any word. Just any word and any sentence. You cannot write this sentence there and that sentence here. You can't do that. Okay. So, and the last stage is the complete stage, where what we do grammatical and structural check there, check for the errors if we have made any grammatical errors. But what happens when we write, our brain works with the content, with the subject matter. So the grammar doesn't take the important place or significant place there. So once you come back and read it, you will be able to find the errors. So when I was writing my thesis, so I have, other than my introduction and conclusion, I have 4 chapters. So what I have done, I brought 4 people, one from physics, one from chemistry, one from mechanical engineering, and other one from electrical engineering. And each of them I gave one chapter. And I said, you please answer me one question. Do you understand what I said? So wherever they put a question mark in whichever sentence that they could not understand it, then I understood, and there is a problem. Now if someone is from English or allied, they will be able to guess. Okay, if not the exact meaning, they will be able to guess. But someone is from engineering will never be able to guess. So if that person is unable to understand what this is, it means there is a gap. So this strategy has helped me a lot. This one. Another one, what I do religiously is I always revisit. For example, I have finished my introductory chapter. Then for 2 days, I will not engage myself with any scholarly work. For 2 days is blank. I will watch something which is not related to the thesis or related to the paper. I will allow my brain to go completely blank. It will lose all the traces of the chapter or of the article, whatever I was writing, completely blank. Then I will come back and read it from a different perspective. Now it's not my paper, it's someone else's paper. I am reading it. I will read like that. Because what happens when we write, if we do this complete stage right after finishing your chapter, what will happen? Everything will seem right to you because you have written. So you have just finished it. You have written because you believe in that, right? You trust that this is good. This is the best. That's why you have written it. So if you do that right after the completion of your writing, whatever you are writing, so 90% chances will be there that everything will seem right to you. So what we do mostly, you can go blank and read it, or you can share your draft with someone. That I also do, but I do it after this revisiting phase. When I am 90% sure that it is okay, then I will share my article with 3 of my friends, and we do it. Also, I also read their papers and come and critique. It's not like don't say what are good. You just tell me what are not there. Don't tell them that you praise me. Rather, you tell them that you please find the gaps. Okay. Then you look for, after that, again you look at it for the content and structure. This is the complete work. I think it has taken 1 year of time. The article which is in Rupkatha, that took 6 months of time. And the editor was Professor Pramod Nair. And he is someone he will question your commas also. So wherever I remember, somewhere I wrote his name. I cited him saying that Professor Nair has said, and there was no dot after F. He wrote one email to me saying that, again, there is no dot after F, that professor. So it is that perfect. You have to understand that writing takes a lot of time. You have to be patient with yourself and patient with whatever you are writing. You cannot just vomit or churn out one paper in one day or in 2 days. It can't happen. It won't happen. You need to give yourself time. Okay. Now coming to the introductory chapter part, some people like to write the introductory chapter at the end. So they first they will write the content of the thesis, then they will come back to the introduction, they will summarize, or they write it when they're towards the last or finishing the thesis, or before just that. So they will write, copy the significant portion of the chapters and put it there, and they can draw on that and then summarize. I generally do not prefer it. If you like, you want your thesis to be like this, most welcome, please do it. If you are comfortable doing this one, please do it. I prefer to write it as the first one because I have already written my abstract. So I know, because see, my thesis, I'm not writing my thesis at the end of my first year. I am writing it maybe at the end of my fourth year. So everything is done now. I do not need extra reading. Any point of time, if I want to read a little bit when I'm writing, that is a different thing. But the major readings are already done. So it is abstract that leads to introduction, that leads to the body of the thesis, that leads to conclusion. This is the whole. So when I have already done the abstract, it's already in my mind what is the structure of my thesis. If it is not crystal clear what I have done, then it means my PhD is not complete and I need more reading. So by the end of fourth year, when I'm going to write my thesis, I'm sure that if not 100% clear, 90% of clarity I already have what to put it there, because that's the last one we do. Okay. So then based on your research proposal or your abstract or extended abstract, you can write. One thing you understand, there should be one logical progression and flow. A logic. This one, then that one, then that one. You cannot. So that one, you cannot just what you're writing. Anywhere, the heading and subheading, everywhere, there has to be a question mark. Why? If you are writing why, if you are writing this one, then why? And end of every section, there should be one line saying that why is the next section. What, why, how it's going to connect this one with the other one, this one with the other one. Every line with the next line, every sentence with the next sentence, every section with the next section. If it is not connected, then trust me, it's not going to be accepted in good journals. Then your thesis is not going to be a good one. Okay, you can break your paragraphs into small chunks, small paragraphs. Do not write very big paragraphs. Write little small paragraphs, and so that you will be able to focus. So what will happen if you write very big paragraphs? You will lose your focus. Your content will be lost inside that. What are you talking about in this paragraph? You will be only lost. So do not write very big paragraphs. Another thing, always focus on clarity over style. Whatever style you follow to write, please focus on clarity. If it is not clear, then no one is going to take that one. And revise your draft extensively. Extensively do it. Sorry. You must work linearly. So some people, let's say you are writing your thesis. Today you finished, you can take a break of 1 or 2 days, that's fine. But if you revisit after maybe 1 month, 2 months, I think all the ideas will be lost. You will be searching for ideas, because these are connecting ideas. All the ideas are connected. Okay, and seek feedback. That is very important. Please seek feedback. This is something I want to tell you. So there are these 3 concepts. One is hook, other one is line, the third one is sinker. Okay, I understand that you people understand what is what are MDAS N dash, all these things, and hyphens. Please, if you don't know, please look it up. Hyphen, N dash and M dash. Many of us don't know the meaning of and how to use these ones. Grammatically, you have to be very sound. If your thesis or if your paper is grammatically not sound, they will reject it. So another thing, please don't trust that Grammarly blindly. That gives many wrong things will be there. Yesterday, there was a student who wrote to me saying that there was biometric attendance problem. The machine has not didn't trace his fingerprint. So he was requesting me to give attendance. So he wrote to me saying, I kindly request. So I said, who is kind? You are kind, I am kind, you are requesting, I am requesting. I didn't understand. So then he said, ma'am, Grammarly has given this. And I said, okay. Then the last sentence reads, thank you for your understanding and cooperation. So then before sincerely yours, he wrote it. Thank you for your understanding and cooperation. So I asked him, you tell me, so you are requesting for attendance. If I have understood your problem, if I have cooperated, it means that I have given you attendance. Then he said, yes, then why are you writing the email? If I have already given you the attendance, I have become very kind, I have understood, and I have cooperated and given you attendance. Then why are you writing the email? So then he was blank. So I said that this line doesn't make any sense. You can write in anticipation of your understanding and cooperation. That you think, you assume, you hope that I will understand and I will cooperate and I will be kind. It's not that I have already understood. If I have already understood, why? Ma'am, these two sentences Grammarly gave. You say yes, Grammarly. So these apps, please do not trust these apps blindly. I'm not saying that these apps do not trace the mistakes. Some of the mistakes are traced properly, but these are not perfect. No AI, no artificial intelligence is better than intelligence. Intelligence is always better than artificial, quote unquote, intelligence. So please trust your brain. So this is called hook. This one is line or thread. And this one is sinker. What is sinker? What puts weightage when you fish? In the fishing rod, it's there. So what are these three when I am talking about introduction and conclusion? So these are simple three techniques. These three techniques are used to grab audience attention. Hook is what? Hook will be something that is attention grabbing element that you mentioned at the beginning, that how to create attention or how to grab your audience attention. That is your hook. Line is something that when you provide one relevant information and context, one after that, something that we say cohesion, which builds cohesion, and then all together coherence. Sinker is something that you give something to go deep into. For example, when you are giving rhizome, so then after that you give a taproot. So you occupy a small place, then you go deep into that. Okay. You must have known about the concept of rhizome in Pramod Nair and post-colonial theory. What is rhizome in South Asian context? If not, please read it. So now coming to introductory chapter. So there are 4 stages. First one, you need to engage the reader. You need to write the hook. How? By striking, maybe you can give statistics, you can give a very thought-provoking question and start, or a fact or something that will capture the attention. Okay, so these are the 3 examples I have put. If you can find more examples, that is good enough. Then you need to introduce the broader research topic and explain also its importance, why someone needs to study that. If let's say you are talking about India's position in SDG, Sustainable Development Goals, how India is doing, before that you need to talk about climate related issues or climate pollution, how it is important and why should we read it, or why someone should do the research. Why is there a need to do the research? in the context of climate pollution or climate crisis. Then you can talk about Anthropocene, then you bring India, then you bring SDG. Okay. Then always you give one context and background. Okay. So relevant information, once you give the context, then it sets relevant information that someone will understand. Okay, first you are talking about climate crisis. Okay, this is why this is climate crisis, and I should read or I should research on climate crisis because of this reason. Now the researcher is going to talk about India because that's the focus. Always define every key term, every jargon that you are going to use in your thesis. In your introductory chapter, wherever there is a jargon or a difficult term or a keyword or a key term, please put the footnote. Please do it positively. Next one, clearly you write whatever is your or are your research problems and your aims, your objectives, your methodology. Clearly, you need to mention that one. Okay, be very specific. Do not put their abstract questions or the questions which do not carry any meaning. Okay, your methodology also has to be there, because see, it's your introductory chapter is giving a roadmap. So someone should understand this is the broader area. This is the research that the candidate or the researcher is going to do, and these are the questions he or she is going to ask or answer, and how she'll do. This is how she'll do. Okay. So this one also, another thing, please remember, there is something called logos. So in Aristotle's Rhetorics, the book Rhetoric, he has given 3 modes of rhetorical appel: ethos, pathos, and logos. So ethos means credibility of the presenter. For example, you all are listening to me, giving your time and energy and money invested, because I have already done the research. I mean, I am done with my PhD and I have started teaching. So now there is something you can trust me. That's why people are listening to me and you trust me. That's why you are listening to me. Pathos is when you appeal to audience emotion. How to grasp their emotion, how to hit on their emotion. That is called pathos. Logos is when you provide the logical data. So whatever you are saying, if you do not provide the data, that becomes a creative piece. That's not academic writing. So how do you give that? You give data, or you cite, or you give theories. If you do not do it, then the research is not research. Please understand this one. It is your thesis or it's your article. You need to follow logos positively without fail. You have, wherever there is an argument, you need to support that argument. Okay, you need to give the logos throughout. So now if I have to put all the steps together of writing an introductory chapter, so first you will give the background information. So my supervisor used to say that introductory chapter is like a Bollywood movie. So where you first state the obvious. So this is there, that is there, this is happening, that is happening. So now the question is, so okay, this is happening, we all know. So there you put a question that, okay, if when everything is okay, everything is peaceful, everything is calm and nice and everyone is happy, there is a problem. You put a question, now how is this one? Then everyone will say, okay, this is the question. So then you say, see, since it is the question, see how no one has studied it. So that is the research graph. So when you say that, see, this is the question, how important the question is, but see how no one has studied. So that we call in academic language research gap. So no one has studied it. Now my point is, I will study it. That's my aim. I am going to study that one. And what exactly I will study? Those are, I will put as 1, 2, 3, 4. These are my aims, that I will study these 4 things. Now the question is, okay, these are my aims, how I am going to study this? How I will study? Because there are different ways to study. What is my way? So my way is this one. After that, I will say, when my study is done, I will give you a structure. So that is my chapter. How many chapters are there? And which chapter will focus on what? What exactly my chapters will say? that is chapterization. So all these things have to be in your introductory chapter. Okay. Now coming to the concluding part. Conclusion, one thing please remember, introduction and conclusion are both parts of one coin. Both function together and they complete each other. You cannot write something completely new in your concluding chapter. You can't do that. New facts, new information are not allowed. Whatever you said in your introduction, you need to revisit that. And your conclusion, that chapter doesn't have to be very long, maximum 5 pages, maximum, that's maximum. Another, please understand, there is a difference between concluding and summarizing. We don't summarize, we conclude. So I will come to that, what exactly we do there. Another thing also, please understand, when we argue, there are chances that there will be counter arguments. Okay. So when you understand that one, there can be counter arguments or there are counter arguments. You can talk about that in your chapter, but not in your concluding chapter. You can't. That one, because that will be a new piece of information. Okay. And send some sentences, like I have put one sentence, you see. This sentence was there in one of my friend's thesis actually. I have taken it from his thesis. In conclusion, I have now demonstrated that my thesis is correct. Now please tell me, how is it the concluding line? In conclusion, I have now demonstrated that my thesis is correct. How is it this the conclusion? So please do not write something which doesn't have any meaning, and that's not the conclusion. So a concluded chapter, what it should have, the general conclusion, the general one, generic one, please avoid. There cannot be generic conclusion. Conclusion of your thesis. So the questions that you have asked or you have posed in your introductory chapter, now you will revisit those questions. Your conclusion will provide answers to those questions. You can summarize, but summarize what? The chapters where you have studied, every chapter will be focused on one idea or some 2 or 3 ideas, whatever you have done, those things you can summarize. Okay. So those specific ideas, if anything else you have specified somewhere in your thesis, that also you can do. But understand that introduction and conclusion, they are like mirror to each other. You cannot talk about something very new that you have not mentioned in your introductory chapter. So it is always also advised that if you have started your introductory chapter with a quote, so conclude with another quote. It's just a suggestion. If you want to do it, you can do it. If you have started with a quote, please end it with another quote. Another thing I have mentioned in my concluding chapter, that I have stated the limitations. So my research is not an end in itself. There are limitations and there are also further studies embedded in that. So those things I have talked about, that during my research, these are my limitations and this is the scope also. So someone can take up and bring other questions and do the research from here. So it is not a circle. It's not a line. It's a circle. It goes on and goes on. There is no end to it. Research is not end. So the one question, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 questions ended with my research, but there can be 1,000 other questions that someone will take it as a reference point or point 1 and will start his or her research. So you can also talk about that these are the possibilities that someone can take up from here. Okay. So what Harvard School of Creative Writing has said, I have put here, that your concluding chapter talks about 3 things mostly. What has already you have mentioned, what, then the next question, so what? Okay, this is, so what I said, it's like Bollywood movie, stating the obvious, then okay, if it is there, so what to do, then now what? So that is your answer. Now what is your answer that you have given in your chapter? Please understand that thesis is a scientific document, so it has to be planned. It can, even if it's a qualitative research, so there are certain things involved in that. So there is a structure. You need to cite. You need to give a reference page. So what is science? Science is when you give the data, something which can be proved, something that can be scaled. Same thing. If we are from HSS, Humanities and Social Sciences, do not think that it is complete your qualitative document. No one can scale it. No, it can be. It's a very scientific document. So, and it's a step-by-step process. It needs time. Be concerned. Always be concerned, but don't be worried. Don't be stressed out. So when we write our thesis, no one talks about this one. So when I'm talking about writing, how to write introduction, how to write this one, what to write that one. So no one talks about our physical health, our mental health, where so lot of caffeine or tea are not allowed. Please take care of your food, water, sleep, mental health, because writing is a very frustrating process. PhD itself is quite frustrating. Sometimes you will feel that you are in an ocean where you are floating, you don't know where to go. There is no end. You are just floating. There is no way out. So it is in itself, it is quite frustrating because it's a lone journey. You have to read a lot, you have to write a lot. You don't know where you are going. So on top of that, please take care of your mental health. You sleep especially during writing phase, you need to sleep properly. Silence is very, very much required. You need to be silent, because what happens, it is something I have felt. I have written my thesis in my mind once and on paper the second one. It is like twice. I have written it twice. For the second time, I have written it on the paper. So be silent. Do not. So by silence, I don't mean that go to the forest and that zone. Don't be like that. Talk to people, but do not be engaged in activities where you have to use your brain a lot. Be mindful. Stay away from distractions, social media and phone and all. Please be and make sure that you walk. By walking, I don't mean that you listen to music, you take your phone, you talk to someone and walk. No, just walk. Okay, so there you can read many articles available online that how creative people have worked before they have shared something or they have come up with brilliant creations. So walking has helped me. Please practice some of yoga or meditation, breathing exercises, or anything that you prefer. You do that. Okay, so that's all for today. If you have any question, you can ask me. Thanks.
Any queries?
Thank you, doctor.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Ma'am, actually, I'm working on my research proposal right now. So I have a question. I did find a research gap, like there is a gap that I could find. But as we say in thesis, we need at least 2 to 3 research gaps. But is it fine if I go with my research paper, like research proposal, with having one gap as of now, and like while I work, I end up getting more gaps, so to say? Because to be precise and to be honest, I'm working with a new theme and a new concept. So understanding that is also taking time. So I was able to find a clear gap, but beyond that, I'm not able to find. So is it fine if I go with only one question as of now?
You are at what stage now? I mean, which year
I
of
am actually
PhD?
preparing my research proposal so that I can get into a PhD.
I'm so sorry. Someone's mic is on, and it's very difficult for me to listen to. Could you please, ma'am? If you could please mute?
Yeah, ma'am. Actually, I'm an independent research scholar. I'm currently working on my research proposal so that I can get into a PhD and get myself enrolled with an institution. Can you hear me, ma'am? Yeah, so basically I could find one research, like one gap as of now. So is it fine if I go with one gap in my proposal, and once I start working, maybe I end up finding other gaps?
Regna ma'am, please unmute your mic, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. So as a beginner, I would suggest that is absolutely fine to go with one gap. Okay, so as you study, as you read more and analyze more, you will find many other gaps as well. But once you start doing your research, I would suggest to read more to find more gaps, because or else what will happen, the content will be very less to finish your PhD thesis. I have seen people that they have the first year of APS, annual progress seminar, so their presentation was so his presentation was stopped because the committee said that it doesn't look like a PhD thesis, rather it is like a conference presentation. It's very small, the scope is very small, what you are talking about, it's like a small paper. So if you have only one gap, it will happen like the content is less, you will find it difficult to talk about. Actually, you won't have much to talk about. So find more, read more. I would suggest to read more, as you are saying that it's a new area. So please read more and find new papers, new researches which are going on. Definitely there are what's your area, if I may ask?
I'm working with medical humanities and trying to integrate with some other discipline.
Okay, medical humanities. Why don't you focus on Satyaraj sir's papers? NIT Trichy, his genre, NIT Trichy, Professor Satyaraj. You can contact him also. He is quite friendly. If he has time, he would definitely give you feedback. His area is medical humanities. He is quite an established researcher in medical humanities. Medical humanities has done a lot. So please search for articles. It's not a new genre. It's not. I have my colleagues here at VIT. They have done their PhDs. And there are research scholars also who are working in this.
No, ma'am, I'm trying to make it interdisciplinary. As of now, I'm just giving. I'll contact you via mail. That would be fine, I guess, because
that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Be in touch.
Yeah, ma'am. Second of all, I do understand, ma'am, what you're trying to say, that when you're doing your research, like when you get into PhD, you need to get 2 or 3 research questions. That is understandable. Of course, I'll read. But if I get, if I'm trying to get into PhD and take one research gap for the admission, is it fine, or it will not be like, it will not work in my favor? That's the main question, because the main part is to get into PhD, because I understand that we need to read a lot, and I am also currently reading, not relying on any GPT or anything of sort. The main question was this, like, if I go with one as of now, will it work or will it not?
It will work. So they will not look at how many questions you have. They will rather look at how deep your knowledge is. Whatever you are saying, if you know everything about that one or not. Okay. If you are applying for IITs, they mostly test all these things.
Okay.
So in between, you can send your proposal to me.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that, ma'am. It would be my pleasure. I will be grateful to you for that, because I was looking for a mentor to actually guide me through, because in the initial stages it becomes very chaotic. I also become very anxious, as you just mentioned.
Yeah, I know that. So anxiety eats us up. So you take my email ID and you give your research proposal to me sometime. I'll read it and give you feedback. Okay.
Thank you so much, ma'am. If it's fine, can you drop it in the chat box, or?
Sure. I'll drop. Or else you can take.
Hello, ma'am.
I'm dropping it. Yes.
Thank you so
much. Hello, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Please continue.
Ma'am, can you tell me how to write the chapterization's title, ma'am? It is based on the title and theory we have to write. Just tell me, ma'am.
So whatever is your focus, please take some words from there. So what are you talking about? Please exact. So as I said, your title from title to abstract to introduction to body to the end. It is a linear process. Okay. So your title, someone should read the title and understand that, okay, this paper is going to talk about this thing. Okay. So whatever is your focus, please pick words from that your focus and put that one in your title. Your chapter must be focusing on something, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's say it's talking about
yes, when we have to use the theories, literary theory in chapterization, ma'am.
So when you are talking about your methodology, you put it there.
Okay.
You say that your research is drawn upon these theories, and what exactly, that also you put which theories, which one, because there are cases where one theorist has talked about many things.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so if you are taking one, so you can talk about that theorist. For example, you take Foucault. Foucault is everywhere. Foucault has talked about many things. So which theory of Foucault you are taking, or which exactly Foucault has said that you are applying that one. That one you need to be very particular about.
Right, ma'am. Ma'am, can you share your PPT, ma'am?
Okay, this one, the one that I presented now?
Yes, ma'am, yes.
I will do that.
Yes.
I'll share it. May not be right now because I don't know if I can do it now, but I'll send it to the organizer. My PPT, I'll send to the organizer and request to circulate demo.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay.
Hello, ma'am.
Can we?
Hello, ma'am. Good evening.
Yes, yes.
Hello.
I was reading, some of the questions are here also.
Hello, ma'am. Good evening.
Yeah, hi, please tell me.
Ma'am, please guide me. I'm research scholar. My research area related to ELT, ma'am. English.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes, yes, I'm listening to you. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Please suggest me some authors, ma'am. Because I have to write a thesis, ma'am. Because my tenure is also coming up to end.
What are you asking me to do? What will I do? I didn't understand the question. Some of the
other references names, ma'am.
References. Okay. I am so sorry. If I'm so sorry, sorry, because I'm from literature. So
Okay.
ELT is not my specialized area. I'm extremely sorry.
Okay.
So I will not be able to give reference books in that. I'm so sorry. Extremely sorry.
It's okay, ma'am.
Can we include hypothesis in first introductory chapter, ma'am? Yes, yes, yes. Please, please do. Please do. Yes. Can I wind it up if we are done? Because I have a class at 8:45. Yes.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, yes. Please continue.
Ma'am, am I audible, ma'am?
Yeah, you are audible. Please ask me.
Yes, ma'am. So, first of all, thank you for this session, ma'am. And I have few doubts that I would like, that I want you to clarify. Ma'am, currently I'm working on a research paper. And then, as for my understanding, a research problem must focus on some societal problem, and we are using a literary theory to sort of taking opinions from foundational theorists, and finally sort of addressing how we are going to face this problem and what is the solution. Is it right, ma'am? Am I going in the right direction?
I don't know what exactly your research question. What is your research question? What is the question you are answering in that paper?
Ma'am, for example,
so this is the base. So what you said, that is the basic one. All of us, we do that. We answer one question which has socio-political issues, which is answering or which is addressing a socio-political issue, a current socio-political or socio-cultural issue. That we do it. But if you are going in this direction, that is absolutely fine. Yes, if you are mentioning one of the broader problems.
Supposed to take a problem.
Yes, you are supposed to take a problem. Yes.
And then focusing on the theory is our only motto.
So yeah, it can be a completely theoretical paper also. It can be. There are papers I have seen, I have read also, where it is completely focused. The paper is focused on only the theory. So you have analyzed the theories. It can be. But a good paper will be where you can provide some of the references from the society. That will be a good one.
Yes.
If you limit your theory a little bit and provide more examples, It's like dividing your paper into 3 parts or 2 parts. One part will focus on the theories, the other part will focus on the references or the examples. It will be a very good paper.
Ma'am, so it means we can use papers from other disciplines as well. Not we should not particularly focus on literary papers. Is it okay, ma'am, if we do that?
I didn't understand the question. You can focus on other papers as in interdisciplinarity, are you saying?
Yes, ma'am. Like not just literary papers.
I mean, I didn't understand. Okay, what is your question? What are you asking me?
Ma'am, when we are doing literature survey, can we take papers that are not under English literature discipline?
Yeah,
like
you can. Yes.
Science?
Yes, you can. My research is focused. One part of my research is focused on economics. A part of research is focused on biology. I have taken keywords like biophilia, biophobia. Okay. These are words from biology. So I have used it, and this I am not the first one to use it. Foucault is the one. Foucault is the one who has used it first. From there, so or you can look at Agamben's theory. Agamben, then Foucault. You can look at that. So they what they have talked about. Yes. Okay, you can look at.
How were you able to? Ma'am, how it was possible for you to connect a scientific concept with the literary theory, ma'am?
1 year of no sleep, proper no sleep.
Yes.
No food. Is that's the way. You need to read a lot.
So
read a lot.
Yes, ma'am. So we can. You can do.
Yeah, you can. So I'm saying you can look at Agamben, Giorgio Agamben, and Michael Foucault. You can look at them and you see what they have talked about.
Can you please share us those papers, ma'am?
Yes, I can. But are you working on those areas? You are not, right? So be very focused. Yes, whatever you are working on, please you look for papers in those areas. Do not read just whatever under the sky. Don't read that. Be very focused. If you are working on gender, please read papers on gender only. So once you are done with that, then you switch to another paper or another concept. Please do not switch in between. Okay.
Ma'am, one last question, ma'am. Is it okay if I do my research paper and thesis under a non-fiction book rather than sticking to fictions?
Yes, you can do. You can do that.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for clarifying all the doubts, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. If there is no more question, I will wind it up.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, madam, for a wonderfully structured, motivating and practical session that has truly strengthened our understanding of how to shape effective introductions and conclusion in research writing.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Thank you all the attendees. Thank you.
We also appreciate all the participants for your active engagement and disciplined involvement throughout the workshop. We look forward to seeing you again in the next session of IITWW. Have a wonderful evening. Good night.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you.